In round one of the 2022 Canadian Superbike Championships at Grand Bend Motorplex, BMW's Ben Young won back-to-back races over defending champion Alex Dumas. Heading into round two at Calabogie Motorsports Park, can Young extend his points lead over Dumas? And welcome to Calabogie Motorsports Park for round two of the 2022 Canadian Superbike Championships. Trevor Daley on his one-speed Suzuki currently sits third in the standings, 28 points behind current leader Ben Young. As Pro 6 Cycle presents the Canadian Superbike Championships on TSN, brought to you in part by BS Battery and Joe Rocket.
And our field is on the warm-up lap for the third race of our 9-race 2022 championship. And this is going to be a complicated year. And with these back-to-back races, it's very important to qualify well. And the man who seems to be developing a very personal relationship with this particular track, he was on fire in qualifying. Let's hear from our BS Batteries pole sitter.
It was a really good qualifying. Really happy to put it on top for the race. We started out a pole for today's race and tomorrow's race. Really excited for that. It's going to be some good racing this weekend.
Let's look at the rest of our BS Batteries grid. Ben Young, a very close second from the Suzuki of Daly. Tremblay and a Kawasaki. Leon on a BMW. Good range of motorcycles at the front of our field for race 3. Jordan Royds, Ivan Babic, Samuel Garant, Ernest Bernhard, and Anthony Bergeron all qualifying well here in our first race of this season at Calabogie after 2 races last year. Making up the rest of the grid is Christian Allard and also Ryan Taylor, 2 Ducatis.
Nice to see Ducatis in the field again.
Now let's hear from our Dunlop pit lane reporter, Hannah, who can tell us about all the Ben Young BMWs.
Thanks, Colin. Ben Young has worked hard to refine his setup on his 2022 BMW M1000RR to maintain his lead in the championship series. Now, Ben has never actually won a Pro Superbike race here at Calabogie Motorsports Park, but after a double win in Grand Bend Motorplex, he's feeling confident. He qualified second in the BS Battery qualification, just 0.36 seconds behind Alex Dumas. Back to you.
Well, here we go, Colin. Race number 3 on the 2022 season. And you remember, of course, here we go. The Bickle lights are starting to come on. These lights can sometimes stay on for a long time, and they're doing that. No, they're not doing that. They're off quick, and it looks like Braveheart got a good clutch out and a good start.
Yeah, and Dumas with a wheelie, which probably slowed him down just a little bit. And, a little bit of shuffling in the pack right away. We're on board with Dumas, and it looks like he's not going to be patient. And this spells doom for Ben.
Whoa, no! Just about took his front wheel right across the bow comes Ben Young, and there's no way in the world he was going to settle for that. I don't think he liked losing out on the pole position. He was a pole sitter in last year's race, and he wasn't far off this year, mind you.
Okay, let's watch here, and there's a big move, and it's interesting. Dumas did not slipstream our leader. He just powered right by, not by a lot. Well, look
Young
at that,
really
inside. Nice move by Young.
Oh, man, that was close. I thought he was going to go right to the point once more, but he is obviously hooked on to Alex right now.
Go on board with Alex Dumas, and you can see he doesn't pull into the soft air, as you like to say, Frank. He just goes to the right, and Young stays pretty far left, which makes it easy. And watch here as he starts downshifting. He's drifting to the left. There you can see the foot looking for the gears. And he does leave Ben a little bit of room, which allowed Ben to almost retaliate immediately. So good to see these guys rolling up their sleeves. And I think Trevor Daley is up to third.
Yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Dumas leaving a bit of room there for Ben, but Ben did not take advantage of it. And here we are again through this section of the race course. You can see all the bottle bags that are set up there for the riders. The promoters have done a great job in getting this racetrack ready to race.
Now, we've seen this a little bit this weekend at Calabogie, where the leaders just take off, and this seems to be happening again. Trevor Daly on his Suzuki is staying close, but they're pulling away. This is the first lap, and I think maybe that's Tremblay in fourth, but a big gap opening up. And this is what you want to do. You want to put the hammer down and scrub off almost everybody so there's less battle. And great shot on board with Ben Young. You can see the wing on that BMW at the top of the shot.
The new M model.
And this battle, the Dumas Young show, we've seen this at Calabogie, and it is fun to watch.
Oh yeah, we couldn't ask for better than these two combatants going at it. Trevor Daly now getting more into the paragraph that he was in that last shot that we have. He's closed up some serious distance here. He looks like he wants to be part of the lead group.
Well, it's interesting. We have a Suzuki in first, a Suzuki in third, and they are different motorcycles. I don't mean they're completely different. I mean the development path, the choices made are quite a bit different. And Trevor is a creative guy, does a lot of special things himself. Dumas probably more traditional in his approach, and of course he has a special relationship with his tuner. But you know, it's right now there's not a lot to choose between these three guys, and Daly has caught up just a bit.
Just a bit. Yeah, Patrice Goyette, who's tuning for Alex Dumas, of course. Let's have another look here. Oh, we've got a crash. We've got a crash. I think that is.
I think that's Ernst Bernhard in his R1.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
And it looks like he just, you know, that's a corner where you can really lean over, and guys often do have trouble with running out of ground clearance there. When you stand there and watch, you can hear people like Dumas dragging the side of their engine, which is a little scary. And I think maybe Ernst just ran out of ground clearance on his R1, which is a shame. He's been doing well this year.
Good news is he's up and okay, and with relatively minor damage done to the R1 as well. So
yeah, we watch Dumas, and his style is so smooth and so tidy, and so much like Jason Pridmore, who spent a lot of time teaching him, famous instructor, famous racer. And Dumas grew up spending a lot of time riding with Pridmore in the States, and it's hard not to see Pridmore for me when I watch Dumas.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned riding on exact lines. Ben Young's infamous for that as well. I often refer to the fact that he rides on dimes. He's on the same line every lap around. And as they make their way through 18, 19, and 20 onto the front straightaway, we'll take a quick break, but we'll be right back. Closed captioning of the Canadian Superbike Championships on TSN is brought to you in part by Liqui-Moly, Traction Heavy Duty Parts, MotorcycleCourse.com, and Dunlop. Welcome back to Calabogie Motorsport Park. We are working lap number 4 of 12 as they head into turn number 1, and Alex Dumas got some serious distance ahead of Ben Young, and Ben equally so on Trevor Daly.
Yeah, things have settled down at the front, and this is around the time when you start to get a sense of what your tire wear is going to be like. The sun is going down.
Bit of a moment there for Ben Young.
Yeah, and I think this is inspiring Daly because he's hung in really well on that one-speed Suzuki, and I think this could be a 3-horse race. I'm not sure of it as we head into the far carousel with our drone shot, which really gives you a good sense of the greenery and how fleshed in everything is at Calabogie this time of year.
It's a beautiful racetrack. On that last shot, Colin, I was going to mention that there doesn't seem to be anyone in sight in regards to chasers.
Yeah, and this is an interesting situation. Dumas is just about picture perfect. Young similarly so. Dumas outstanding in sequences. He always seems to be able to hit the marks and get the timing and not make the little mistakes that can, you know, when you're behind, you're praying the guy in front is making just enough errors that you can notice it and keep your inspiration up. So good work by Ben to stay tight, but Dumas doesn't give you a lot of meat on the bone.
No, and let's remember that Dumas really learned his trade on the fast-flowing racetracks of the United States of America, and it is not quite comfortable on a track, for instance, like Grand Bend.
Well, I mean, interesting, he didn't win at Grand Bend, but he sure did well, and he led on the second day, and so the hope that maybe he was going to struggle there, I mean, he's got a great team and a lot of deep ability to be prepared. He's got 2 almost identical bikes at the moment, which is always helpful. Ben Young, it's an interesting situation as we watch Ben Young through the carousel, through the cut, if you will, here in Old Quarry at this track, but Ben Young, in our opener, raced a bike he never raced before, and now he's racing another bike he hasn't raced before. Normally, you really wouldn't want to ever be in the middle of the season trying out different things. Full marks to his team, Scott Cartier, Willie Voss, who they can do that kind of work and switch things around and get the performance they need. But Ben maybe doesn't have exactly the comfort that Dumas has. Also, Dumas ran the regional here and won at an amazing pace.
I was going to mention that.
And that's very discouraging for everybody else in the field.
His win in the regionals was a 12-second gap. Look at the wheelie by the wild child, as Trevor Daly has definitely made up some distance, Colin.
So the question is, what is Trevor doing with his traction control? How far back has he turned it to try and figure out what he thinks will give him the advantage? What he's thinking of his tire, and lots of fight in Trevor, and at times he has struggled to have the start that'll get him where he needs to be. He didn't have a great start, but he fought his way up to third. And the thing about Trevor, as we were talking about with Ben, he can see the leaders, right?
Yes.
So that helps so much to keep your heart in it, keep your pace up. And, you know, I mean, Trevor hasn't won a Superbike National, and I think everybody expects him to do it.
Well, he's on the tool to get it done. He's essentially on the same motorcycle as what Dumas is riding, and both these are the guys that gave Suzuki their Constructors' Championship last year, as you'll remember.
Well, and you know, horsepower and performance is so difficult with electronics and how you use your tires and all that, but actually on the DynoJet dyno, Daly Suzuki had the highest number we've seen, slightly ahead. They're all very close in the low 190s, but Daly actually registered the highest number here at Calabogie. So if you're wondering if he's got the juice, he's got the juice.
Right on. Yeah, I was looking over the results, and indeed the horsepowers were very, very close on the top 10 bikes. Even I was surprised that nobody dared to gamble.
Well, I think sometimes people who aren't directly involved like to think that this is about horsepower. It's not about horsepower. It's about riding talent. It's about chassis setup. It's about electronics. But it's even harder than it looks, really.
Let's go on board now. Here we are on board with Sebastian Tremblay. We were wondering where he got to. He's running in 4th spot, and it's a little bit of a lonely ride right now. He's got a pack of riders in behind him. You can see them coming out of 20 now, but it's a long way up to the top 3 riders. We'll be right back with more action from Calabogie Motorsport Park. Welcome back to Calabogie Motorsport Park. We're watching Sebastian Tremblay on the number 24 Kawasaki ZX-10R as he makes his way around the racetrack, holding on to 4th position. Let's go down and talk to our Dunlop pit reporter, Hannah Streak.
Thanks, guys. Reigning Pro Sport Bike champion Sebastian Tremblay is focusing all his efforts into the Pro Superbike class this season. With his last podium finish in the Superbike class being in 2015, he's very hungry for a podium finish in this round.
After winning the championship in 2021, clearly our goal was to move to the next step. We weren't having as much fun riding with the 600 as we were riding with Superbike, but with the 600. So it was kind of not really a fair challenge for me. So we decided to go with the Superbike for this year. We're confident we're going in the right direction.
And the right direction is towards turn 5 as we go back on board with the Kawasaki Ninja of Sebastian Tremblay, one of the best liked, most well respected, and most helpful people in the CSBK paddock.
No kidding. The Shaker is very highly respected. A great battle going on, meanwhile, behind the Shaker, and that is Samuel Goran and Michael Leon. And they, in turn, are being chased by Ivan Babik. So a great battle going on there by the midfield riders. And Leon, who won at a regional here just a couple of weeks ago, certainly knows his way around this racetrack, Colin.
Yeah, a good battle. Geraint was actually tipped.
Oh, man, that was close.
Geraint was expected to maybe battle with Leon at that regional, both of them on BMWs, and Geraint had quite a bad crash and actually wound up with the bike on top of him and burned him fairly badly. So he's riding hurt.
Leon to the inside. Nice move by Leon. I was just going to comment as Geraint is getting passed by Leon. Nice pass, beautifully executed. And can these 4 guys work together, Colin? Can they bring themselves up and perhaps chase the Shaker?
No, I think Sebastian's safe, and part of the reason is these guys are block passing each other, and it helps your position and will help you move you up a spot, but it doesn't move the group, and I don't think they're riding as one. Now let's go with the replay, and here you can see Leon commits to the tight line, and Geraint's left the door open. Geraint doesn't seem as confident in the move, and when you see Leon ducks under, he lots of lean here and picks it up onto the tire and gets hard on the throttle to discourage the retaliatory move.
And a good move indeed. There's a beautiful shot of them coming through that dip and up and over the rise as Leon now into the what I like to call the carousel, the gravel pit, as it were. Geraint looks like he has intentions here.
Well, I would like to say that I have intentions to compliment both these bikes are really nice-looking motorcycles, and it's great to watch the two BMWs. And there you can see Tremblay fairly far in the distance, but not without hope. And there now Geraint is tucking in. And Geraint is, like you could say, an inconsistent performer at this junction. We've seen amazing things out of him, but a lot of problems too. Michael Leon, very, very smooth veteran guy.
Well, Geraint definitely got our attention in the 2020 race here as he and Jordan Zoke and help me here, Jeff Williams involved in a great race, but he's kind of plateaued after that. Not to be rude.
I think just a lot of little problems, and it's we haven't had a lot
here
of
now?
races, and yeah, that was close. Leon made it clear the door was going to be shut, but Geraint can be creative, and let's see what he does now. And the others are, I believe, Royds and Babic are maybe catching up just a wee bit because these guys are battling. Now Geraint's going to try the inside into Temptation, and that could
nice
be a
move.
thrill.
Whoa! Holy jumped up. I don't know how he didn't take out Leon and himself at the same time. Royds takes it full advantage of it, however. He on the IBEW sponsored BMW.
So let's watch this. Watch his foot, then watch his head turn. He is not making that turn, and he, I think, missed Michael Leon by millimeters. Like, good effort looking at just on the edge of the track, edge of the cones, but that is
scary.
That is as hairball as it can be, and both those guys could have been in a heap. Like, that was a close call, and we'll be right back with more sideways BMW action right here on TSN.
Welcome back to Calabogie as Pro 6 Cycle presents the Canadian Superbike Championships on TSN. Brought to you in part by BS Battery and Joe Rocket. We are back at Calabogie Motorsport Park, and suddenly Sebastian Tremblay has inherited third spot. Colin, I don't know what happened.
A lot of drama coming out of turn 8. It was a very hairball maneuver, and Trevor got flung. This is the tail end, and he's jogging up to try and pick up his Suzuki. He will remount it. Remarkable that he survived getting flung and that the bike was able to continue, but he's obviously lost a lot of ground. And as you can see here, Ben Young has faded back a little bit from the leader too.
Tough break for the Wild Child, though, as we are working lap at 11 of 12 right now, but tough break for Daly. I'm hoping that he gets up and is able to gather up some points out of this.
Watching Dumas with just over a lap to go, Mr. Smooth putting the power down. Doesn't look like he's slowed down even a tiny bit, and he is just hitting his marks and doing what he's supposed to do. The bike has been flawless. It's a really well set up machine. As we mentioned, he bedded that bike in, had its first race here at the start of the season. That's right. And it was a pretty
Whoa, there was a moment for the young lad.
Well, I don't think so. I think he's having a good time. You know, I think that's how comfortable he is, and he's has a clear track. Now knows he has a bit of a margin. He's a veteran pro. He's won championships in the States. He's climbed the ranks. Yes. He really knows these bikes well. He has a good team behind him, and he is just riding hard because he can.
Having fun out front. Clear field of vision, nobody in your rear view mirror. Oh yeah, they don't have your view mirrors. Okay.
Into the quarry here, good shot of Dumas and that nice low light that shows off the various blue tones of his paint job. You can see him counter steering there out of 19 into 20. Power down using not quite all the track, and there's that flag that tells us we have a lap to go.
Here we go, on board with Alex Dumas on the Patrice Goyette tuned Liqui-Moly sponsored GSXR 1000, and he, as you mentioned, Colin, is having a great time out there. Let's see if he puts on any kind of a show for us, maybe a wheelie or something.
Yeah, you can see him maybe working the tire just a little bit there, but he's he's right on top of his game. Right?
Oh,
you can
see, again.
Yeah, he spun the tire 3 times in 2 turns. Yeah. So look at that.
And there's my wheelie.
So here's the question: has Alex turned the traction control down a little bit just to have a good time on his last lap of our Saturday here at Calabogie? We have a race tomorrow.
Yep.
So Alex is looking to continue, and we're close. A perfect record of superbike racing at this track.
Yes, including the regional. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And again, playing around out there, he's got to be careful. You know, he doesn't want to toss that thing up the racetrack and be fairly embarrassed.
Well, I think too that when you see people sliding that much on TV, they're really sliding. Like, and you can tell it that way, and that's just the comfort level, right? He's getting the most of the bike, and he's doing that because he knows he can do it, and he doesn't think it's risky, right? He is not pushing beyond his limit. He's close to his limit, and that actually makes the race go by a lot faster.
No kidding. I'd love that shot where they come out of turn 19. We'll get to see it coming up here fairly soon. When they come out of 19 and onto 20, you catch the back end of the bike, and they're laying a big black streak about 20, 30 feet up the racetrack.
Yeah, maybe just slightly slower through here, a little less aggressive because the flag is not far away, and we're heading down the hill towards that big cut where the quarry is, and look at how far ahead he is of Ben Young now. He has pulled out.
Oh no, got a bike down. Oh, that's Jordan Royds.
Yeah, that's the IBEW BMW,
yes.
And that's turn 8 yet again, and there has been an incredible amount of action through there, and that bike is in rough shape, and here's our leader about to do what he's gonna do.
And what he's going to do is be the first person to see the checkered flag and do so on his back wheel. Dumas wins again. What a race.
Convincing victory, first win of the season for him, and that will pull him a little closer to Ben Young, and these two finished last year in a battle atop the point standings, and man, does it ever look like we're seeing this again. Of course, we're missing Jordan Zoke's Kawasaki, we're missing TV Tommy on his Yamaha, but they would be working hard to be part of this story right now.
Well, I know we're still fairly early in this season, but I can't help but think about the Constructors' Championship. If Daly can bring it home and get some points, but there's a bunch of BMWs in the field.
Nice to see them celebrating, and as you like to say, Frank, it's good when they don't fall down on the cool-off lap celebrating. A couple of wheelies there heading down the back straight, and
nice.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah, really.
Here we go with our drone shot into the carousel. Young is waving to the marshals out there who have had a very long day and a fair amount of entertainment and activity here at Calabogie. It was a fairly entertaining day and maybe a little more drama. Let's look at our results. There you can see Ryan Taylor had a reasonable effort in his Ducati Panigale V4 in his first ever run at this track, and that's a tough one. You can see Daly, let's talk about him, made it back into 8th with some points, so that's a bit of a haul. A lot of BMWs amongst the top group, but one Suzuki at the very top.
We have caught up to Alex Dumas. What a race, what a win, Alex. Congratulations. You just flat run away with that thing.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah, it was an awesome race. Didn't get the starter that I wanted, but tried to pass on the inside in Bend in turn 2. That didn't work. It was a little bit tight. So I got a really good drive out of 4, passed him into 5 on the brakes, and from there I just did my laps and just led the whole race. I really want to thank all my team and everybody who supports me. We're going to try to improve on the bike. There's a couple things I'd like to improve and just try to get a bigger gap tomorrow.
Holy Lord, you make this thing any faster than this, nobody's going to catch sight of you.
Well, that's the goal.
Have a look at the point, and Dumas starts to creep up on Young, and it's going to be interesting at the front as we continue at Calabogie next race and head to Shubenacadie. Daly not bad, Tremblay getting to terms with his Kawasaki, and Garant starting to climb the standings too. Lots of action.
There's a look at Alex Dumas as he climbs to the top of the box after winning race 1 here at Calabogie Motorsport Park. On behalf of the entire CSBK staff, I'm Frank Wood alongside Colin Fraser. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.